Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are and wherever you may be. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. I am Brad Franklin, the creative content right here in Chesterfield, and I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. Now, if you are watching the version of the show, you can see that we are not in the studio. We are out here at the Perkinson Center for Arts and Education. There's an art gallery here, very beautiful, lots of different pieces and things. I'm really glad to talk to Chelsea Buyalos, who is the Executive Director of the said Perkinson Center. First off, Chelsea, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Brad. It's a really, really honor to be here.
I very much appreciate your time and appreciate you coming on the show. Obviously, for a lot of folks who may understand what the Perkinson Center is and all the different things you guys do, we've certainly been here before, but we've never really featured the Perkinson Center itself. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity to sort of talk a little bit about sort of what the Perkinson Center is for people who may not know and what kind of things you guys offer. Before we do that, one of the things I like to do when we record the show is I like to have a little bit of time where I can kind of introduce the guests to the listeners and kind of give them a sense of who they're hearing from. And before we get into the background of the Perkinson Center, I want to kind of get a little bit on yours. Tell me a little bit more about sort of your background, how it is that you came to be here at the Perkinson Center, and how it is that you came to be sitting across from me today.
Oh, wow. No pressure, right?
I figure start you off with an easy one. Talk a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Right? I got my start in the arts right here in the heart of Chester.
Okay.
I was bitten by the bug with music, art classes, theater, you name it.
Okay.
And I can say with full confidence that I have lived an art-filled life since those early years as a classically trained singer, an arts administrator, and of course, too, an educator. Yeah. And I've been able to work in a variety of arts spaces over the years, traveled the world, and had the opportunity to really connect and provide access to the arts in a variety of ways. Yeah. And I was called home. I was called home in July of 2021 to serve in the role as the Director of Education here at the Perkinson Center. And then in February of 2022, I transitioned into the leadership role of Executive Director. So this is a full circle moment. This is a homecoming. Like I said, I started here in my hometown, and it has been a beautiful experience, and it's been a whirlwind ride, and it's one of those where I pinch myself because I remember advocating for this place as a child. Right. I remember going to the community interest meetings. I remember having those conversations. Right. So to see it come to fruition after all of these years is a beautiful thing, and to now be a part of it, pinch me every single day.
Now, in terms of the sort of mission and what you're a part of now, a lot of people probably have seen the Perkinson Center, have maybe heard it mentioned, heard to hear people talk about it, but I'm not sure a lot of people truly understand like what kind of things happen here. You might have even come to a performance here and not even known that this gallery space was here, or even vice versa. And I'm just curious, can you tell me a bit more about the Perkinson Center story and how all of this sort of came to be?
Mm-hmm. It has been a journey, a beautiful one. And, the Perkinson Center is the perfect example of what resiliency is in the arts. And the seeds were first planted back in the 1950s with a local community theater group called the John Roth Players, which was founded by Dorothy and Larry Armstrong. And at the time, they were looking for their theater home, as well as a place for community to come together and access the arts in a variety of ways, whether that be through theater, music, dance, visual art. And so that dream started with this group of people back then. And a lot of other community members joined in on that charge. And it pushed Dorothy Armstrong in the 1980s to approach the Board of Supervisors at the time and said, look, let's explore what it means to invest in the arts in our community. You have many community members who want to see this happen. Let's start having that conversation. Right. And that ask started with the establishment of the Chesterfield Cultural Arts Foundation, which is the nonprofit that now is charged with the management and the operations of the Perkinson Center. All of the opportunities that you see in the theater, the gallery, which we find ourselves today, or in our education center, are brought forth by the Chesterfield Cultural Arts Foundation. So we've had a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs, and it's been a Herculean collaborative effort with Chesterfield County, the Economic Economic Development Authority, many community members and artists in the area. So it's been a beautiful journey, and started, with modest means of a community theater group. And now we have this beautiful state-of-the-art space in which to create and invite our community to explore, create, and experience the arts in a variety of ways.
Now, the space itself, this building, I don't recall the year that it finally once everything was to completion and we could finally open the doors for real. But how much did that renovation and having this space kind of change everything for the Perkinson Center?
Oh my goodness. So as I mentioned, we had a long story, twists and turns and ups and downs. And when the bond referendum was, released and the sign off was given after we, as the foundation, were asked to raise some funds, some community funds. Once that happened and they broke ground in July of 2019. Okay. Oh man, what a beautiful opportunity, because we're the first art center in the region in quite some time to be built from the ground up, to see that investment made. The Richmond region is fantastic at building, repurposing, reallocation, taking something that wasn't an art space and turning it into something else. Right. We have that, and it's beautiful. We have fantastic spaces within the region that definitely serve that purpose. But to have the chance to build it from the ground up offered us the opportunity, in conjunction with the county, to really look at, okay, this is going to be used as an art space. What are some of the things and big ticket items that someone may want to invest in to make creating art easy for artists, artist teachers, and lovers of art to come and experience. So having that opportunity to build it from the ground up has definitely been a wonderful experience. And I will admit, the ground was broken in 2019. We had no idea that our journey, our coming to fruition, would coincide with a global pandemic.
Of course, right? Yeah.
So definitely, again, that kind of reinforces our resiliency as an organization, and also community. We are helping our community be more vibrant through these artistic opportunities. So we weathered the storm of the pandemic. That was definitely a challenge that hit all of us very hard in a variety of ways. And, now we're in this milestone year of 22-23, being our milestone season where we've been able to operate at full capacity and across all of our program areas.
I was going to say, you mentioned community, and I was just thinking, this is probably the first real chance wholeheartedly, and I don't know if you guys talk about it in seasons, so to speak, but it feels like this is the first real chance that you've had to really put out the kind of things that you want to do with this new space. It's in a lot of ways, you're still probably learning a little bit about sort of what to do and how to do it and how to put things together.
Exactly. And that's another thing to really point out is that, the Chesterfield Cultural Arts Foundation, for decades, we were a mission on paper. Now we are a mission in action, and serving the community and providing opportunities that otherwise probably wouldn't be there. We firmly believe the power of art to all. We need to be able to bring that to them. And another thing is, your zip code or your ability to pay or your means should not dictate your ability to access the arts. Whether you're a kinder learner, explorer in the arts, or a lifelong learner, you have the ability, and we can be that resource and that touch point for you.
Now, in terms of the community piece of it, obviously this is such I don't even know if you can use the word huge resource, but those words don't necessarily really, I think, fully encapsulate sort of what the Perkinson Center means, can mean, will mean for Chesterfield, for this community, for the region, as a whole. Tell me a little bit about sort of those partnerships. What are some of the groups that you guys have partnered with to sort of bring this, the full, sort of the full strength of the programming to fruition?
One thing I think we all have learned coming out of the pandemic, or what we experienced, is that we are stronger together. And collaboration is key.
Yeah.
So forging those collaborations is very important, not just with arts organizations, Chesterfield County, or even the community. Those are very important things to foster, because at the end of the day, we are here to serve our community through the arts. And so we've had a wonderful opportunity to start really working with other arts organizations. I'll go ahead and do some name drops here.
This is your chance, right?
This is our chance. We definitely have 3 in-house partners right now. We are currently working with Cadencia, which is a 13-piece salsa bamba band, which is absolutely fantastic. They keep us rocking in our theater. We also have our friends at Broken Leg Theater, which is a children's theater, but also provides opportunities to anyone who wants to be involved in the theatrical arts. And so we are very, very grateful for them as well. They rehearse here and they produce one of their shows here. They just did The Wizard of Oz, if you had the chance to take that in. It was absolutely a mesmerizing, beautiful experience, because that troupe, you have not only the actors on stage, whether they are the littlest of littles to a seasoned, I believe, one of the adults, the oldest member in the cast, was in her 80s.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big span of involvement, and not only did you have the artistry on stage, but you had youngsters, teens, and young adults working in some of the key technical positions behind the scenes. So that's a beautiful opportunity there, kind of continuing the legacy of the John Roth players in some ways. And then we have our partners in Laughs. We have our friends at Pearl Street Comedy, which provides us some of the beautiful artfully crafted comedy shows that we've had here at the center. So those are just some of our immediate partners that live and breathe here at the center, but we've also had many opportunities to collaborate with CCPL, the Chesterfield County Public Libraries. We've had opportunities to work with the Richmond Performing Arts Alliance, VSU, Virginia Opera, Richmond Symphony, just to name a few. We've had so many more, the list goes on. And fostering those collaborations, providing a space in which for those arts organizations to work and play has been a wonderful thing to kind of get to know and work with them.
Now, before we get to some of the things that are coming up, now, for full disclosure, we're recording this a few weeks before it's actually going to come out. So there's going to be, if you come here, you're going to see a different sort of installation, exhibit, what have you. But I'm just curious, before we get to some of the things that are coming up, I just, as you were sort of talking a second ago, it made me think that, how do you go about bringing different acts, different shows, different, folks to, how far out does the scheduling work for something like this? Because I think this is one of those like inside baseball things that probably makes a lot of sense to you, but for all of us on the outside, how do you go about choosing what is on the stage or what is in here in the gallery? Like, how does that process work? How far in advance does all of this kind of come together for you guys?
There's a lot of nuts and bolts that go into this because we are multifaceted. We have our theater, we have our gallery, and we have our education offerings. So yes, it is multi-pronged. Yes, it's a lot of behind the scenes that goes into making those selections. But yes, we do plan in advance, and we are already we're finalizing everything for 23-24. And you
want to break some news on the podcast?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Almost there. But we've got some pretty cool things coming up for 23-24. And then we are also looking to 24-25 and 25-26.
Wow, that's so wild.
I can't believe it. You have to plan. And so when you're talking about touring groups or regional groups, yes, you have to get on the books in years in advance sometimes.
Absolutely.
And, we are definitely supporters of making sure that we're fostering our local, regional, and national talent. So it's kind of a secret in the sauce type deal where you find the perfect combination of the three, because you want to make sure artistry at whatever level or whatever focus is uplifted. For instance, in our gallery space, we have a process in which artists, local, regional, and national, can submit their work for consideration here at the center. Again, starting to book up for the next 2 and 3 years.
That's wild.
So I can't believe it. We're like that little engine that could, that kind of thing. And it's just so beautiful to see that people are leaning into this process and embracing us and learning and, joining us as we make that big lift of, again, going back to that statement of being a mission on paper to a mission in action. Those collaborations and looking for those kinds of acts to bring to our area is important. Because I let me tell you, and this comes from, being a Chester girl. I have had so many conversations in art spaces recently where they said, in Chester. In Chester, Virginia. Right. And I hearken back to, my life as a classical musician. Yeah. I can't tell you how many auditions I would sing. Yeah. Where they look on your resume and see, Chester, Virginia, where's that? And my answer to that is, why not?
Yeah, that's right. Art can be anywhere.
Art can be anywhere. And the Perkinson Center is definitely a testament to art can find a way. Yeah. And, this center was built by community for community, and there are so many collaborators that have helped bring it to fruition. So, season announcement coming shortly, Brad, I promise. Okay. I promise. Solidifying some of those things.
Good to know. All right, let's talk about some of the events that you're going to have throughout the rest of the spring and the summer. I'm just curious. Tell me a little bit more about what you're expecting on the stage, what you got going on here in the gallery. Tell me what's coming to the Perk.
So what we've got coming up is Summer Nights at the Perk. This is year 2 of our summer concert series. Last year we had 4 concerts. This year we've expanded to 6, featuring a variety of talent. We've got Kia Bennett coming, soul, R&B, Serenata. We've got a local favorite, Cheap Comfort, John Wintett, which is jazz. Okay. We've got a variety of artists that are coming for that, as well as My Son the Doctor. So we've got lots of opportunities, and then some folk opportunities with Steel Gut. Okay. I'm just name dropping them all because they all deserve it. Yeah. So that will be our summer concert series that is free and open to the public. Awesome. It'll be out on our Panchita Klein patio, and we welcome all. So if you're listening to this, please send us your RSVPs at perkinsoncenter.org. Again, free and open to the public. Arts activities. We'll have food trucks on tap as well at each performance, and we're looking forward to that. That last year we took a stab in the dark and we tried to see if it would be well received, and it was. Yeah. So that's why we brought it back. Additionally, I know you mentioned we've got Dave Henderson with Curves, Lines, and Color in here right now, and when your listeners hear this, we'll be changing the mood a little bit. Okay. We are going to be opening our community exhibition here in the gallery called Seasons of Change. And I love this show because it's embracing ambiguity. Okay. It embraces the challenge of art because, art is meant to be defined, redefined, shaped. Yeah. It's supposed to inspire thought. And it's, gaining different perspectives. So this show is called Seasons of Change, and it embraces, if you talk about, the literal sense of seasons changing, the seasons outside, right. As well as communities changing, and we as individuals changing. And let me tell you, we just did the review of the submissions last week, and we've got a pretty beautiful show. Awesome. So we're very, very excited to be bringing that to the Perkinson Center here in the gallery for the summer months.
Good deal. Well, Chelsea, let me get you out here on this one. Look, obviously, because of sort of the time frame of when you guys kind of came online, so to speak, and everything with the pandemic and sort of being able to really hit your stride, this seems like a little bit of a softball, but I'm gonna toss it anyway. How excited are you about not just what you guys are doing now, but the future for the Perkinson Center here in Chester?
The future is so bright. The fact that this community has, with a resounding yes, said yes to investing in the arts. The arts are essential to humanity. They connect each and every one of us. They allow us to foster better versions of ourselves. And I've said it before, they lead to more vibrant communities. Yeah. And, seeing this investment made, seeing the collaboration, because let's just face it, this was a Herculean effort. Absolutely. With lots of different players. I have to give those shout outs to Chesterfield County. I have to give it to the Chesterfield Economic Development Authority. They've said yes to investing in the arts. Yeah. And they've also tapped us, the Chesterfield Cultural Arts Foundation, as the nonprofit charged with bringing all of these experiences. Right. So it is a beautiful, beautiful process. I have to give a shout out to our team here at the Perkinson Center. We've got 3 full-timers here, myself, Heather Miles, and John Shelley, who make magic happen. We also have a cohort of part-timers that help us with our events, both technically and in the front of the house, and beautiful volunteers. They make our mission come to life.
Yeah.
Our volunteers are, ones that are the first faces that people meet when they come into the building.
Right.
And to see their joy, their exuberance, their, go-getter attitude when they come in to help us in our mission, that's been a beautiful thing. So we invite our community members to lean in, come and join us for a performance in our theater, gain a different perspective in our gallery, or, get those creative juices flowing by taking a class here at the center. We are so excited to be your new home for the arts, located right here in the heart of Chester.
Good deal. Well, Chelsea, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, now make sure you check us out on social media. On Twitter, it's Chesterfield, Virginia, and on Instagram, it's Chesterfield, Virginia, all one word. And on Facebook, you can check out our podcast page. Just search Chesterfield Behind the Mic. Now, make sure to follow the podcast or subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, or wherever it is that you get your shows. And if you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we'd greatly appreciate it. As always, a video version of the show is available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website at chesterfield.gov/podcast. That's also where you can submit feedback anytime, make suggestions, or just reach out to us. You can also watch the show on WCCT Thursday through Sunday at 7, on the weekends at noon. That's Comcast Channel 98 and Verizon Channel 28. Lastly, you can check out chesterfield.gov/connect with us to find a number of different ways for you to connect with Chesterfield County. My thanks to my director, Martin Stith, my executive producer, Teresa, Bonifas, and all the good folks from Constituent and Media Services for all they do. My thanks to you for joining us today. So, from all of us here in Chesterfield, thanks again for making us a part of your day. We'll see you again real soon. Take good care.